I'm going to make sure to check the comments out in another window too. So I think we are up and live. Let me go check the MEC and see if we got stuff going on. All right, we are up and live. What's up, MEC? How's everybody doing? Super hyped to have another episode of MEC TV. We haven't done one of these in a little bit. I've been traveling like crazy, but here we are. We're back, and we're going to be talking about getting your money mind right. And thank you so much, Beth, for coming on. Super excited to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to share my knowledge with MEC. I've been following this group for quite a while, and you're doing amazing things. So I love it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a fun group for sure. And I know one thing that really helped me kind of in my journey early on was understanding money mindset, confidence, kind of stepping into that and really being able to feel the immense results that has brought me earlier on in my journey. So I really wanted to bring this topic up to this group, really help people explore it a bit, understand what could be holding them back, what could be that next step for them, and then some practical strategies they can do to kind of step into that better version, prepare themselves to receive lots of money, have that confidence. And I know that's what you're all about. So super excited.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of the really interesting things that when you start a business, you're not thinking that, oh my word, I'm going to be the thing getting in my own way. You're like,
yeah.
Oh, I have customers. I have to build a website. You're thinking about all of these things. You have no idea that the biggest thing that's going to stop you is you. It's kind of crazy.
Most definitely. I know that's happened to me and a lot of other people as well. So real quick, if you guys are watching this on the replay, go ahead and type replay down below so we know you guys are still in the house. Okay, we got some people on Team Live down below too. Cool. And drop a $ if you guys are ready for us to get this rocking, because this is like life-changing stuff. It will completely transform how you look at yourself, your abilities, your ability to charge more, receive more, and kind of step your game up. So go ahead, drop some money signs down below, and we'll get right into it. So for everybody out there that doesn't know you and how awesome you are yet, let's get a little bit of a background. What was some of your journey and what brought you to what you're doing today?
Well, there's a lot of things that brought me here, but some of the main highlights, I was a childbirth educator and doula. And one of the things that you learn in childbirth is that the biggest thing that gets in the way of most women's births is themselves. And so you have to learn a lot of strategies to be able to help people to get out of their own way. And so that was a big part of this, and learning to get out of my own way. Another piece of it was going through a faith transition. And so I ended up leaving the faith I grew up with. And when that happened, I ended up getting really interested in how does the brain work and why do particular things happen. That led me to studying leadership, to studying NLP, to studying mindset in general. Just a really fascinating experience. But those things led me to coming upon manifesting. And I did a manifesting challenge, and it worked. And I was so frustrated because I'm like, okay, there has to be a psychological explanation for why this works. There is some brain explanation. And so I set out to go figure out why the heck does this work psychologically. And so I've spent the last couple of years just studying that pretty ferociously, and found some really amazing and interesting reasons why we were able to create more money when we get in control of our brains. So at the end of the day, my biggest passion is helping people to take back their brains.
Yes, love it. That's so important, and kind of like being cognizant of understanding that yes, sometimes you are doing things out of like that feels like you're out of your control. But once you start understanding like how you can kind of set your mind up to empower itself instead of keeping itself in a box, that's where the breakthroughs happen. And like it's crazy how especially leading this community and working with a lot of different types of entrepreneurs at different stages, I've seen that happen and come up where Like I know I've personally been like, you know, I have the whole path laid out, I already have some success, and I'm moving towards, you know, something new or something different, and it's challenging. And then there's that moment where I'm like, I'm the only thing that's holding this back from happening. And then I'm like, okay, cool. Now I can figure out how to bust through this and actually go get the result. And a lot of people are kind of stuck in that box where they probably already have the majority of what they need to succeed, and it's just their head stopping them. So super excited to get into some more of like how to how to break that and get people through it. So I know you've been doing some unique things with your money mindset challenge and kind of taking people through this process to step into that. So what does that process look like? How does it all start?
Yeah, so it all begins really with awareness that you are even the thing holding yourself back. A lot of times we just don't even know that we're the thing holding ourselves back. Once we recognize that, then you can actually take some action steps to change things. But there's several different things that can make a big difference, but one of the biggest things is understanding like what is the root of the fear that's holding you back. And so those fears really boil down to three things. You have a fear of being controlled, you have a fear of being neglected, or you have a fear of being rejected. It's one of those three things, and we have to essentially just go back either to your childhood or to whatever experiences formed your experience around money and break that pattern. And so it's really that's one of the things that we're going to be doing in the challenge today, actually, is getting to that root of, you know, what's that real fear, and understanding how to break it. So like I said, the first thing is that awareness. And then you have to stop that behavior. You have to be like, okay, I see that I'm doing this. I can't keep doing this, and figure out alternatives. So that's a big part of it. But just knowing that it's one of those three things can be a huge game changer for people.
Definitely. So let's check the early stage, like the awareness part. So kind of becoming aware, spotting things. Like I know that's one thing. I know you're a big fan of Todd Herman as well. The whole like alter ego effect thing. And I use that for having like a different level of self-awareness where I can see, okay, here's me over here. Here's, you know, this version of myself that I want to be. Here's this version of myself that, you know, I don't want to be. And then when I take action on things, I realize like, oh, this is in the wrong category. I should be doing this instead. So it's like having that layer of self-awareness really helps. And like, how can people start to develop that, especially when it comes to money mindset and these habits?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. So there are 6 different categories, and the first 5 of these came from when I was working in birth work, and so they're actually from Birthing from Within for anybody who watches who might recognize these. But it's by looking at your brain as having different characters in it. Okay, so there's a physical character, there's a mental character, emotional, social, spiritual, and your professional character. We can look at all of these different characters and analyze, okay, so physically, what do I believe that someone has to look like in order for them to be incredibly successful and for them to make a lot of money? And am I living up to that? So you either have to change the belief or you have to change what you're doing. And then you can do this in each of these different categories. You have to analyze and start to understand, like you're saying, the alter ego, the character that makes a lot of money. What does that character look like, and how do you become that character and step into that character? And it really can be that simple. It really can be that simple.
Yeah.
It just comes down to cultivating who that character is so that you can step into it.
Definitely. And like that, I think that was one of the bigger takeaways I had from that whole alter ego thing is having it on paper. So I think that's a good exercise for everybody in kind of like listing out, okay, what are the characteristics of, you know, the type of person I want to be, the type of business person I want to be, type of salesperson I want to be, marketer, whatever. And how can you make sure your actions align with that? And that just makes it so much easier because every time you step out of that, you know you're off track and you're right. Like having that is going to be really, really helpful.
Yeah. And one of the things that Todd said at 90 Day Year Live that was just like really powerful to me, he was saying, you need to have your totem. You need to have something that you put on and you know that I am stepping into that mode. And he said, don't you dare put it on if you are not prepared to step up and own who you need to be.
Yep.
In that
I like that. What's yours?
It's a watch, and you'll notice I'm not wearing it right now. But yeah, as I will actually sit there and I will hold that watch, and I will not clasp it until I am ready to own it.
Yeah, and then you just it's game time.
It's game time. It's go time. That second that I hear that click, it's time to go.
That's awesome.
I have money mindset blocks as soon as I hear that click.
Yeah, and that's really cool too, because it's such an interesting trick to have like a physical object like that. Kind of like Inception, where they have the little top they spin to see like if it's is this reality? Like, all right, cool, we're still in the real world, we're still here, or like, nope, I'm dreaming right now. So yeah, everybody out there watching, think of something that you could do to kind of like put your game face hat on. Think of something cool where you are taking that action, becoming that person, and stepping into that confidence. Because I think so much around money mindset is confidence in saying, yes, I'm worth it. Because if people feel like they're not worth it, they could have high price stuff, and just everything around how they communicate their offers, their marketing, their messaging, how they describe what they do, it's all diminished, it's all minimized. And I really want people to kind of be like proud and just like feel like what they have to bring to the table is so valuable that the person you're talking to would seriously regret not signing up for your thing, and I've seen that just make an absolute shift in people's mindset as well. So what are some cool ways you've seen people kind of like transition from being where they were at to kind of stepping up and stepping into this powerful money mindset?
Yeah. So one of the really interesting things was I was working, I did a branding program with some clients for the past 6 months, and we worked on strategy over and over and over again for the first 3 or so months of this program. And then finally I came to them with the money mindset approach. And I told them, I expect you to succeed. I expect you to go out and make a lot of money. I believe that you can, and I believe that you're the biggest thing holding yourself back. And I had clients come to me and they said, yeah, but I would have to triple my rates in order to get this thriving place. Or I'd have to make, somebody, she was like, you know what? I felt myself in the moment that you said that to me, I thought, oh, I'll make $5,000 this quarter. And then she thought to herself, no, I am not doing that anymore. And she just had this complete breakthrough. Made $20,000 that month.
Yeah.
And it's just this owning that you're allowed to be incredibly good at the thing that you're incredibly good at.
Definitely.
And so people experience a lot of guilt for being really good at that thing that they're good at. So those clients that I mentioned who they told me they had to triple their rate, they didn't triple their rate, they tripled their business. And they were able to hit those income goals. And they're opening a healing center in Israel, and just some amazing, amazing things that happen as soon as you decide, I expect myself to succeed. I expect that I'm not going to be screwing around anymore.
Definitely. And I know there's so much of it is tied in with like family, childhood, being raised with certain money beliefs. And I've seen a lot of people kind of like, no matter if they're starting out day one in their business, you could take two people who had very different upbringings around money, investing, penny pinching, all that. And they have completely different ways of operating, communicating about money, spending money, investing. You want to talk about that a little bit? Because I think everybody's affected by it one way or another, whether it's positively or negatively.
Yeah, so there, your brain is really, really fascinating for a lot of reasons. But one of the things about it is that there's your conscious mind and there's your unconscious mind, and between those there is this piece of tissue at the back of your brain. It's about the size of your finger, and it's called the reticular activating system. And what it does is it serves as a filter. So when your conscious brain sees something, uh, that information goes through this filter into your unconscious mind, and it checks and sees, hey, is this legit? Does this fit the story that we've lived our whole lives with? And if it does not, then it comes back to your conscious brain and tells you that it does not see what it sees.
Mm-hmm.
And so if your unconscious brain has been programmed with a lot of information that says money is hard, money does not grow on trees,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have the money for that, then that's what your unconscious mind is going to have tell your conscious mind. So you'll completely miss opportunities, you'll completely miss relationships. You could be in a room next to somebody who could be your greatest, connection, and you won't even see them there
Mm-hmm.
because your conscious and unconscious brain are not on the same page.
Yeah,
So we have to get on the same page.
definitely. How do we do that?
Ooh, okay, so there are three different ways that we can change the unconscious brain. The first is mortal peril, and generally we want to avoid that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but this can happen like a psychological death as well as literal mortal peril. But generally, that's really painful. There's better ways to change your brain that aren't so painful.
Mm-hmm.
The second way is repetition. And this is where affirmations and mantras and journaling and the day after day after day type money mindset activities come in. Those can change your brain and change that experience that you have. So you can
Mm-hmm.
say those affirmations, which the difference between affirmations and mantras for anybody who's not familiar, affirmations are proactive, where mantras are reactive. And so you would say, I am blah, 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 to speak it into reality. Whereas if you have a thought pop up that you don't like, you would use a mantra to support the opposite belief. And
Mm.
that's a little thing that I want to talk about too.
I like that. That's cool. And I never realized that it was different in the sense of proactive, reactive. Yeah.
And then the third way is strong emotion. So if we can use really strong emotion, which is my favorite way because it changes the brain safely and quickly, um, then we can use strong emotion to change what's going on under the surface, so that you can finally see those opportunities that are standing in front of you that you
Mm-hmm.
haven't seen before. So we can use changing your language. We can use I use a lot of NLP tools to
Mm-hmm.
change that. Also, just creating some strong experiences. But just one tiny little thing that I wanted to touch on was when it comes to those affirmations and mantras. Here's the thing that a lot of people make a big mistake with is they'll have these thoughts and they use affirmations or they use mantras to suppress and push down these ideas that they don't like. That's the wrong approach, because you're going to just push stuff down and it's just going to keep breaking through. What I like to do is picture your brain as the Slim Shady music video where there's a million M&Ms right out there, but it's a million of views out there.
Mm-hmm.
But what I like to do is I like to have you find the voice that believes in you and strengthen that voice so that it creates an influence
Mm.
as
I like
opposed to
that. That's a good quote. I gotta go comment that one.
yeah, that one makes a huge difference. You're not punishing yourself, you're not telling yourself that you're wrong, you're not pushing these things down. You're buoying up the beliefs that actually support you.
So how did you say that again? You said find the voice that believes in you
And find the voice. Well, I say it a lot of different ways. I'm not sure how I said that. But you want to find the voice that believes in you and make it the one that influences the rest of the voices in your head.
I like that.
Yeah, it's absolutely game changing. It's one of the things that my clients, when they find that voice and they find how it can support them, that's when they start to see the big shifts.
Yeah, definitely. Because it's like, it's being a lot more rooted in that powerful self, that confident self. And when you know that's always somewhere up in here, when you're dealing with hard times, you're stressed or whatever, you can just kind of like point and be like, oh yeah, there's that part of me that thinks I'm awesome and confident and totally worth it. And then,
and I'm going to believe and listen to that part.
yeah.
The one that says like, I can double my rates, triple my rates, 10x my rates, whatever it is, I'm listening to that voice, not all the other voices.
Definitely. Yeah. And that can show up in so many ways. Like I've seen this come through in literally everything when it comes to communication. When people are talking about their brand, their credibility, their offers, their client results, all this different stuff. And when people are kind of like not fully confident in what they're bringing to the table, and they're not tapping into that, I'm awesome voice, it comes out in the copy, it comes out in the communications, it comes out in the speech. And that is like client repellent. Like I've seen a lot of people really struggle with that. So kind of keeping that voice in mind while you create your marketing is going to make everything a lot easier for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those things that I experienced as well. Like I mentioned, I had done branding for a while, and on one of I recently did a video where I introduced myself as a money mindset coach, because I've been doing money mindset for a long time now. But I introduced myself as a money mindset coach, and I was like, it didn't feel forced. There's nothing to that, because I know it, I believe it. And a lot of people, they have that experience as well, is when you're saying that you're something, like there's part of your brain that's like, I don't believe this. It's called cognitive dissonance. I don't believe this. When you let go of that guilt of I'm not allowed to make money doing the thing that comes easiest to me, suddenly you're able to say that thing and you're like, oh wait, I actually 100% believe everything I'm saying.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And it's awesome. And that vibe attracts the other people who are already confident, ass kicking. Like the quality of people you attract goes way up too, because they see like, oh wow, this person is really like in their element. They're doing their thing. They're professional. They're confident in their offers, their voice. And that also helps you charge those bigger rates, because the types of people you're pulling in are a lot more legit. That's one big thing I've noticed too with a lot of people, especially service-based online coaches, things like that, is there's a lot of things they communicate that really hurts their credibility, that really hurts their ability to attract those premium people. But when you have that confidence, when you have that clarity, and when you charge more, you're gonna get people who are okay with that and are ready for those big results. And that just changes everything. Like I remember when when I got started with some more agency stuff, I did email marketing for a long time. And like right when I was starting out, I was charging like a couple $100 for like email sequences and all this stuff. And, just doing it again and again and again, and doing e-commerce and this and that, and helping a bunch of people out. But it was all like newer stores, people with, less than 1,000 email lists, all this kind of stuff. And, I was making pennies. I was helping them, make some money, but it wasn't like a big crazy ROI. And then I came across somebody who had a 90,000 person email list, and I did some work for them. I did the same exact campaign I did for them that I would have done for the small stores. And I literally charged 10 times as much. And you better believe I never charged anything less than that after, So it's like understanding how to get in that door and get that first big, like premium client, premium result. It shifts your whole entire standards. So like all you got to do is get this done once and change your standards and understand how to keep doing that. And it's super, super powerful. Like I love it when people kind of finally understand value-based pricing, and then it reflects in their mindset. They're like, yeah, I could charge hundreds of dollars an hour, like I charge $500 an hour for consultations on Facebook groups. And I always tell people, I'm like, you're not getting the hour, you're getting the next 3 months of your Facebook group strategy to make you at least 20 times this. And they're like, oh yeah, I guess that makes sense. Huh?
Yeah, absolutely. And that that whole idea of creating the evidence for your brain, that's another awesome way. Creating that evidence is something that can create that strong emotion. It can also create that repetition that changes your brain. And when you're able to like look to that evidence and you can keep looking back to it, it's so powerful, because when you know that you get results for people, you don't feel bad. You don't feel bad charging them whatever it is that you're charging them. The other piece of that was really powerful when I was learning about it is you can charge. You might think, well, how can I charge hundreds of dollars an hour when that's what I used to make in a week, right? And so what you have to think about is, are you getting people a week or more worth of results, of shifts, of change, of results? If you know that you're going to be saving them that much time, why do you feel guilty charging them that amount? Because you're saving them a phenomenal amount of time and helping them to get results that they couldn't have gotten without you.
Lost you there for a second. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, I can.
Okay, cool. All right,
Sorry.
back.
I don't know where it cut off. But I was just saying that it was that if you can start to recognize that you're getting people, a week or a month or a year's worth of shifts and results and changes, you need to let go of feeling bad and feeling guilty about charging as much as you would for that period of time.
Yeah, no, that's so true. Cause like, I think where people are so stuck in the hourly wage mentality, where they think it's show up, clock in, clock out, get paid for that one chunk of thing. But it's like when, especially with service-based business and coaching, things like that, where the one thing you do can have an exponential effect for like months or even years to come on somebody, it makes a lot more sense to charge a lot more. and having those right people, they'll be happy to pay that. Like I said, like I charge like $500 an hour for Facebook group consultation. And the only people that go through with that are the ones who are, in the position to take that action and make it a whole lot more worth it in the next few months. So it's a really good way to have a filter for people who are serious and ready to roll and ready to get those big results. So that's awesome. What do you think is one big thing that would hold somebody back from like just doubling their rates like right now? Like, guys, if you guys want to double your rates like immediately a clock, go ahead and just type a $sign down in the comments. So I know you guys want to make some money and just double your rates, because we already covered like 17 different awesome ways to kind of reframe your brain and reposition it and kind of have that confidence, turn on that awesomeness and be able to do that. But I want to hear it from you, Beth. What do you think is one thing or what's holding people back from doubling their rates, and what's one thing they can do to do that immediately?
Yeah, it's a decision that you must, that you are going to. This can come down to changing the language that you use. That's a part of it. But it has to be a cognitive decision that you make in your head that I must succeed at this. I must make this much money. And part of this comes down to going and looking at, okay, so I want to create this life. What is it going to take for me to get there? A lot of times people, they'll make as much money as it takes to pay whatever bills they have, because that's what they must make. That's how much money they have to have. And so they create exactly that much. But what they're not recognizing is that if they want to live a particular lifestyle, they must make more than they're making. And they need to figure out what that dollar amount is. They need to figure out, okay, so if 3 months from now, I want to go on a vacation and I want to take a month off next summer from my business, how much money must I be making right now? And once you recognize how much money you have to be making in order to reach your goals, you're going to see a huge shift because you're going to step up to the plate.
Definitely. Yeah. And especially when I notice when people become, they figure out how to separate a little bit more of themselves from the business, where it's like you're making decisions based on when your next bill is due instead of what's best for the business. And it puts that grip on the people where they're like, I have to get a client. I don't even care if it's a third of my normal rate. I'll take them right now because I got a light bill coming up and I need power, because how else am I going to do my work? I'm going to get the Wi-Fi cut off. And like, it's a very interesting transition where you're seeing people going from kind of like lifestyle business where it's like, oh, replace my job income so I can have the personal income, into like business ownership. Like, what does the business need right now? How much can we do this? How can we like serve people over the top to make that premium offer and make it worth it? And when you have that I think that's kind of the middle ground in between what we're talking about here, where it's like the people who are stepping up into that stronger money mindset, and then, okay, cool, then they get there and they're feeling more financially free. And the next level would be like, okay, how can we look at this like as a whole organization, and build this so we can invest? And then it becomes even easier to become more confident and charge more and scale the business and invest more and be more financially free. And I love that. It's so cool to see people go through that.
Yeah, and that was honestly my biggest takeaway from 90 Day Year Live was, you know, Todd talked about, what does my business need today? Asking that question. And so that's, you know, when I wake up every single day, that's the question I ask myself. What does my business need from me today? And I don't have to feel bad about charging as much as I charge, because it's what my business needs in order to hit the goals that my business needs to hit.
Definitely. Yeah. And it's such a good filter for like so many other categories, even just outside of money. Like, what does my business need today? Oh, well, it definitely doesn't need me to sit on the couch for like 3 hours and watch Netflix. You know, it needs me to show up and do this. So it's like that extra little bit of separation. Like, okay, this business is a whole organism that needs to be running and going, and you got to feed it every day, and you got to be productive, you got to do all this. And once you kind of recognize that, you make a lot better decisions every single day. So so let's see, that is a affirmation because it's proactive, right?
What does my business need from me today? Yeah.
Kind of in that sense, yeah.
I mean, a lot of times people want to start affirmations with I am, that sort of a thing, but
I am focused on doing what my business needs from me every day.
Yeah. I am focused on giving my business what it needs today. You know,
I like that
approach. So one of the really interesting things that happens with that, what you were mentioning about money showing you what everything else is. That's the reason why I do what I do, is because your money shows you your mind. And if you go look in your bank account right now, it's going to tell you what's going on inside of you. Not necessarily, oh, I don't have any money, so I'm broken. That's not what I'm getting at. But if you go look at, you know, what's coming in and what's going out, and why is that happening, you're going to understand why your business isn't succeeding. You're going to understand, you know, I believe that I just have to spend, and I never deserve to receive, right? And you can look for where that's happening in your life. But, you know, like I said at the beginning, I'm passionate about money mindset because it helps people to take back their brains. It's
Love
just
it.
one of the most visible ways for us to be able to see what's going on inside.
Yeah, it really does impact everything else. And so I know we covered on like 27 different things now, which were awesome. Guys, let me know what's one takeaway you guys had that you're gonna go apply, because like we covered a bunch of different things, just touched on them, went a little deeper into some, and I want to make sure that you guys are not just watching MEC TV like it's any old regular TV show you're watching. This isn't, you know, Netflix to binge watch and then not do anything with it. I want you guys to do stuff, and take what we provide for you here and go and use it. Like, that's the whole point of this community, is get you guys educated, trained, get you connections, resources, and doing stuff. Because the success doesn't happen on the sidelines. And I'm just so grateful to have you come on, Beth, and show people how they can step into that. And I know you have some even more awesome resources for them. So you just started up your Money Mindset Challenge yesterday, right?
Yes, it just started yesterday. This one's a 5-day challenge. I've done a 10-day challenge in the past, and the top 10% of participants in the 10-day challenge, they had created over $500,000 in 10 short days.
Nice.
So, yeah. So really, really great results. This one's a different approach. This is more about actually creating that change in your brain that you need to step up to the plate. But
Yep.
that's in my Facebook group, Future Millionaires with Beth Griffith.
Cool. I'll take that below. And yeah, everybody out there watching, like, just know, as always, I don't just invite any random people to come on and do MEC TV with you guys. It's the people who I know can seriously help you. And this isn't like we were joking right before we got on how, like, a lot of people teaching money mindset, they're like, oh, just manifest $1 million and you'll get your Porsche, whatever. It's like, no, that's bullshit. We want to back that up with real business strategy and the psychology behind allowing yourself into this new money mindset, into this new success. And that way you really are attracting it, but you're changing your foundation as you do. And that's something that you can not go back from in a good way, you know? So you guys are in for a treat. And so I asked everybody to type challenge if you want more resources. So I'm going to drop the link to her group and get you guys hooked up with that. And yeah, so if you guys are in for the challenge, just go ahead and type challenge down below. We'll make sure to get you guys linked up. Free challenge. You guys are going to love it. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. So do you have some time for any questions if anybody has questions?
Yeah, I do.
Cool. So guys, if you have any questions around money mindset, go ahead and drop it below. We'll spend a couple minutes answering these. And yeah, let's see. While I think of a question, what do you think are some of the big questions that everybody asks around money mindset, or big misconceptions that you might want to clear up?
Yeah. So, one of the, well, it really comes back to, I had asked in my Facebook group yesterday, what's the biggest money mindset block that you just can't get past? And consistently, I would say probably 80% of the people said that I can't get more than just enough. And I touched on this before. You have to have that must, that reason that you're going to keep going. But the thing is that really is a mindset. It really is a mindset that you aren't allowed to have more. You're not. You're going to choose to neglect yourself. You're going to choose to neglect your happiness, your success, your needs, and recognizing typically that it's neglect. It makes it so that you can start to look for that in other areas of your life. Where are you allowing yourself to be neglected even more? Because if you can start to change that belief that it's okay for me to be neglected, or I absolutely cannot be neglected, and so you're creating that, then you're going to be able to change that. But start looking for that in other areas of your life, because you're creating it somewhere else.
For sure.
Play a pattern out in one area, it's playing out everywhere, 100%.
Yeah, that's powerful. And like, I didn't even really think about it that much until you brought it up earlier, of saying how money mindset and being cognizant of how your beliefs affect your money and how it affects everything else. So when people can kind of get a better understanding and go through your challenge and kind of pick their own brains apart and see what's going on in there, how can we fix things? How can we make a couple tweaks and allow myself to be in that powerful self and confident? That's going to be really cool for people. So that can change a lot of things. So I hope you guys join this challenge. And let's see. Leanne asks, how important do you think about having great credit and a mix of credit cards to use for building points?
Oh, that's a great question. So here's the thing is that I believe that money mindset is an individual thing. I believe that for one person, credit can be a really wonderful tool. I believe that for somebody in a particular cycle and attachment, credit can be a terrible thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so this comes down to an awareness of your own particular habits. So there's a spectrum when it comes to spending, and there's the penny pinchers on one side, and there's the overspenders on the other side. If you know that you're far on this overspender side, I don't recommend credit for, I just don't. You're going to need to be much more structured with your money. If you're on the penny pincher side and you're the kind of person who you can pay off that card every single month, this is my husband. You never ever ever will stay in debt.
Mm-hmm.
Then by all means use those tools. Work on building that credit, but it comes down to understanding where on the spectrum you are. I recommend being in the middle of the spectrum, and in that case, yes, you can use credit. But if you know that you're an overspender, work with yourself instead of against yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Great advice. And so we got an awesome one from Wendy. She says, I just quit my job. How can I stop myself from falling back into corporate when the fear sets in?
That's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing is that I would start, Wendy, with identifying what is that fear based in? What is that fear rooted in? And so again, we're going to go back to control, neglect, or rejection. Are you, and it can be a combination. It can be all three things. But when you start to find yourself in, let's suppose that it's control. When you find yourself starting to freak out about, oh my gosh, someone's going to control me. I'm going to go back to corporate and I'm going to have a boss and they're going to tell me what to do all the time. And it's just going to be awful. You have to stop that pattern the second that you notice that it's happening, and figure out, okay, so what am I going to do instead? Find that voice in your head that believes that you can succeed in those moments and tune into that voice. That voice is your best friend at all times, but especially in those freak out moments. And if you can tune into that voice and you can create that character for yourself that you can step into, that character is going to know what you need to do to make it so you don't go back to corporate.
I dig it. Yeah, good answer. Good answer. All right. Well, it looks like we have no more questions. Any final thoughts for people before we hop off?
Just that I just want to reiterate one last time. It's so important to go look at your money, to go identify what's going on with your money, because your money is going to tell you and identify and show you the patterns that you're playing out everywhere else in your life. If you can get your money under control, then you're going to be able to get all the other areas in your life under control. It's going to spill over and create that life. Money mindset is not just about creating the money to live the life that you want. Money mindset is about owning and creating what you want in this one area so that you can do that in other areas.
Definitely. Good stuff. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. And everybody make sure to go type challenge down below. We'll get you guys hooked up with the money mindset challenge going on in the Future Millionaires group. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed.
Thank you, Arne.
For sure. All right. See ya.
Bye.